Hi there, I'm Kate McClellan, and I've been a professional wedding planner for over 20 years now. I started Planning Collective when I noticed that though most couples are super excited about getting engaged, they quickly feel overwhelmed and intimidated by the actual process of planning their weddings. If left unchecked, this can lead to massive burnout and the urge to scrap all your plans and just elope. While this is totally normal, you don't have to sacrifice your sanity for your dream wedding. In the Wedding Planning Collective podcast, I'm going to share the processes, tips, and tools that all engaged couples like you need to feel confident, supported, and excited about your wedding plans again. Let's get started. Hey there, before we get to the episode, I have a quick question for you. Have you been unsuccessfully trying to shake that feeling that you're forgetting something when it comes to your wedding? You've got the Knot app and you've downloaded countless other planning checklists, but you just can't get rid of that sneaking suspicion that there's something you don't know yet. It's a very common feeling when it comes to wedding planning. So much so that I decided to put together a free resource to help get rid of what I call FOWO, the fear of wedding oversight. Yes, it does include that 12-month task checklist, but that's just the start. In addition to the ultimate wedding planning checklist, my new Don't Forget list also includes a wedding vendor checklist, your shopping list, a packing list for the wedding weekend, and a complete wedding item setup list to make sure that you are truly not forgetting anything when it comes to your wedding. And you heard me right, this list is free for you to grab right now. Just head over to planningcollective.com/forgetting and it's all yours. That's planningcollective.com/FORGETTING, and let's get rid of that FOWO together. All right, let's get on to the episode. Hey guys, Kate here. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Planning Collective podcast. Today's episode was going to be about how to make a wedding planning post-it board, but something came to my attention earlier this week that we need to talk about. And if your ears perked up with the sound of a crafting project, don't worry because we're still going to cover that in next week's episode. But today, I'm bringing you a more timely update about a big change that's happening in the wedding world, a little bit under the radar, specifically talking about the Knot. If you've been using their budget tracker or were planning on using it to manage your wedding expenses, I have some very important news for you. But don't stress because I'm also going to share some other resources that you can use because if you haven't seen yet, the Knot's wedding budget tracker is going away. The Knot recently announced that they are retiring their original budget tracker, which was the tool that let you actually plug in your real wedding numbers and keep track of your spending. They're replacing it with what they're calling the Budget Advisor, which sounds helpful, but really it's more of a general pricing guide based on the averages in your area. You won't actually be able to input your own spending numbers, which is a huge downside if you want a realistic grip on your budget. And worse yet, if you have been using the Knot budget tracker to keep track of all of your details, you're going to lose all of your data from the tracker starting July 31st. That's just over a week away. So if you need to grab any of your information, make sure that you do it soon. Before I tell you about some alternatives for the Knot's budget tracker, I want to talk to you about why the Budget Advisor just isn't going to cut it. Like I mentioned before, the Budget Advisor is going to be working off of averages in your area. They get these averages based on surveys that they send out to couples after their wedding. And while that's a perfect way to collect data, we're going to talk about why averages aren't really all that helpful when it comes to planning your wedding. And I'm going to be really cheesy here for a second because here's the thing about averages. You're not average. Your priorities, your guest count, your must-haves are unique. Averages can really be helpful to give you a general cost in your area when you're in the very beginning stages of planning. But here's how this seemingly small switch can really create some big issues for couples down the road. First off, just like I mentioned, averages don't account for your unique priorities. Maybe you care more about amazing florals and you don't need transportation. Or maybe you're skipping some things altogether and doing some really unique components to your wedding. An average can't help you figure out what you want to splurge and what you want to save on. Secondly, and this one is something that's honestly been bothering me about the Knot, Wedding Wire, and Zola's breakdowns in general over the years, averages can be wildly misleading. And it's not just because prices can vary, but it's because those averages include everyone, regardless of their priorities for their wedding. For example, you might see that an average DJ costs $1,200 in your area. But remember that that average also includes the numerous couples that probably didn't have a DJ if they had a courthouse wedding or if they just had a Spotify list in their backyard. And we see it all the time in categories like wedding planners or videographers that are kind of those optional categories. A lot of couples don't have a planner or don't have a videographer involved. So when they're answering those surveys, they're putting 0 because that's what they spent on that, right? And that is impacting the number or the average in all of those categories. On the flip side, if we're talking about catering or venues, there's a big difference between a venue that is fully all-inclusive versus a caterer that maybe you brought in, but the venue cost was different. So when you look at the average cost of a venue rental, you need to know, does that include the food? Does that include the rentals? Is it truly the full picture? I've seen it happen so many times where couples feel confident about their budget in the beginning because their average cost of a photographer was, say, $3,000, only to realize that they can't find anyone that is available under $5,500. Or the couple that books their dream venue because they thought they were within target based on these averages, only to find out that it doesn't include so many other details that they're going to need. Averages can't account for your priorities and the specifics as you're planning your wedding, which is why tracking the actual real numbers is so important. Let me put this in more everyday terms that might be a little bit more relatable. Let's imagine that you are shopping for a new house or apartment. Sure, it is helpful to know the average cost of homes or apartments in your area, so it gives you a general starting point, but you wouldn't start your search based solely on that average, right? You need to look at what you specifically can afford or what you're personally willing to spend. And that depends on your specific living situation and priorities, right? Plus, these home averages don't reflect things like your preferred neighborhood, square footage, or whether the place needs a major renovation. And the same is going to be true for your wedding planning. Averages are a great starting point, but without a personalized budget, you are flying blind when it comes to your actual numbers and priorities. And third, without your own tracker, it's so much easier to forget smaller line items like gratuities, your marriage license, alterations, or some of those little decor extras. Just like we discussed with the Amazon Prime episode a few weeks ago, it's rarely one big thing that totally blows the budget. It's all the smaller purchases here and there that tend to add up, and they can wreak havoc on your overall budget. A budget advisor is going to tell you to have like 5 or 10% of your overall budget set aside for those miscellaneous items like the Amazon Prime purchases, or maybe something a little bit bigger that you didn't anticipate in the beginning of planning, but it's not going to help you track them. Which brings us into the final point. There's no way to actual track payments with a general guide. You can't note what you've already paid, what's due next month, or when your final balances are due. So you're left scrambling, or worse, stuck with a surprise payment or a late payment and added fees. Now, I know from working with couples that this part of planning, figuring out a budget and actually sticking to it, can be one of the most stressful parts of the whole process. I strongly believe that couples need much more than a budget advisor. They need a real budget tracker that is customized to their wedding with the tools that can help you stay on top of every payment and avoid last-minute panic. Wedding planning is so much easier when you have the right tools to help you do the heavy lifting, so you're not constantly wondering what you've forgotten or worrying about unexpected costs. And this is one of the main reasons why I built out a full set of resources within the Planning Collective membership, so you're not stuck piecing things together on your own. Now, the Planning Collective membership is about a whole lot more than just the budget. But let's talk specifically about what tools in the membership can help you as a replacement for the Knott's Wedding Budget Tracker. First up, you get my Wedding Planning Blueprint course. It's all the advice that I give my one-on-one clients, just in an on-demand format in recorded video, so you can go through it in your own pace. Now, this includes a full budgeting lesson where I can help you break down your specific numbers, talk about your priorities, and take out the guesswork because I walk you through it all. From there, you have access to a customizable budget tracker template. This one is super helpful because you can plug in your actual numbers and it will keep track of where you are in the overall budget of things. You can also fully adjust it based on your priorities. And again, we talk about how to do that within the lesson in the membership, but you're always able to see where you're at budget-wise. And if you're in the beginning stages of planning, there's a venue pricing estimator, which is so important if you're just looking for your venues. Venues and catering are typically one of the largest expenses for a wedding, so it's really important to know that you have all of the details that you need to know what that's going to cost you. This tool helps you factor in the hidden costs that you might not have thought about yet, like service charges, rental fees, and all of the other venue fees that you might need to look for. In the membership, we also have a vendor payment tracker. It helps you keep track of the deposits, final payments, and any gratuities that you might need so you're not blindsided in the last minutes before the wedding. And of course, you can bring your actual budget to our office hour sessions where I can review it and let you know if you're missing anything or if I recommend any adjustments. And of course, non-budget related questions are always welcome there as well. So yes, the not budget tracker is going away, but that doesn't mean you are all on your own when it comes to keeping track of your wedding budget. Whether you're just getting started or you are waist deep in the messiness of wedding planning, there are better ways that you can keep track of your budget without the guesswork. You can check out these budgeting tools and templates at planningcollective.com/membership and also learn about all of the other membership benefits. And as always, I'm here to help you try to stay sane during the wedding planning process and hopefully have a little bit of fun while we're at it. All right, that's it for today's little budgeting reality check. Hopefully it helps you feel a little bit more in control of your wedding budget, even with all the changes that are happening out there. And if you found anything helpful in this episode or other podcast episodes, I would be ridiculously grateful if you could leave a quick rating and review. It takes like 30 seconds and it makes a huge difference in helping other couples find the wedding planning resources they need. And it also helps me keep these free resources coming your way. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next episode.